Let's talk about the Mandela effect. So this is what happened to me. I distinctly remembered the incident of a colleague of mine coming to my office, narrating her experience of going camping with a group of friends and discovering a dead body. She gave me the details, like how they called the police, that the police took a while coming to the site, how they were all traumatized by it, and blah, blah, blah. So last summer, I wanted to go camping. And because I remembered this incident that was narrated to me, I went to this colleague to ask which camping site it was that the dead body was dumped at, so I would avoid going there. Only to have this colleague tell me that it wasn't her that told me about this, and that she'd never indeed found a dead body at a camping site. So I distinctly remember, I have an actual memory of this particular colleague with her mannerisms, the way she talks, physically standing at the door of my office and telling me about this. And what's even more weird, this was in the presence of another colleague of mine who remembers the exact same thing happening. This memory of mine was so vivid that I literally thought there was something wrong with my colleague who said she never told me this. I'm like, I think that's early Alzheimer's, or I don't know, I was doubting her memory, doubting everything about what she was saying. I'm pretty sure I even called her a liar in my mind. I did momentarily doubt myself, of course, and tried asking a couple other colleagues if it was them that told me about this, but no luck. So a couple of days later, my other colleague who was there when the story was supposedly narrated to us, she obviously knew about it. She said that she kind of thinks this other friend of ours might have told us about this. Now, the issue with that is this other friend from another department has never actually physically been in my office. She works in a different building. The only way she could have told me was over the phone. And I can swear that I have a precise recollection of being told about this in person by the first colleague I mentioned, who was standing at the door. I actually have this memory. So what's the deal here? Am I crazy? Is my other colleague crazy as well? What the hell is happening? So a possibility that comes to mind is the Mandela effect. The Mandela effect is when a group of people have the same recollection of an event that happened differently from the way it actually happened. It's basically a form of collective misremembering. Or is it? This phenomenon first occurred in 2010 when hundreds of people falsely remembered Nelson Mandela dying in prison during the 1980s. In reality, Mandela was freed in 1990 and passed away in 2013, despite some people claiming that they remember the riots that took place when he died, and they even remember seeing clips from his funeral on TV. I'm not going to go into all the different popular examples that have come to light since then, but a couple examples is how it was wrongly recalled by some people that C-3PO from Star Wars was gold, when actually one of his legs is silver. Or the fact that people distinctly remember the song We're the Champions by Queen ending in no time for losers because we are the champions of the world. I remember of the world. If you in fact listen back to it, it doesn't say of the world. What? Or how Sri Lanka, for example, appears to have geographically moved, according to the recollection of some people. It seems as if many people clearly recall Sri Lanka in a different location than where it is now. Some people, myself included, remember it being further to the west, right? Possibly directly south of India. If we look at a map now, Sri Lanka appears to be at the southeast tip of India. Dude, this is tripping me out. Like, it's not always been there. There are numerous theories that try to explain this phenomenon, including confabulation, which is a term from cognitive psychology, which apparently we all do very often, and it's the unconscious manufacture of fabricated or misinterpreted memories. We simply remember things that never happened. Now, how can hundreds of people remember the same thing? The internet, maybe? Accidental as well as deliberate misinformation by various sources, which I'm not going to name. That may be a possible explanation, but somehow I'm not convinced. Some theorists explain the Mandela effect as a byproduct of time travel. Maybe some people have gone forward in time by a day or a year and a half, or another random leap that wouldn't appear to be blatantly out of sync with present time. Let's accept for a second that what happened to those who remember Nelson Mandela dying before 2013, maybe staring at the TV back in 1990 or whenever, they slid forward to 2013 and saw Mandela's funeral on TV. So that, combined with confabulation, possibly is what produced the memory. So blink, blink, or click, click, a few seconds later, we're whisked back to 1990, and then we went to the grocery store to get some Fruit Loops or some tofu or whatever. In our minds, Mandela had died. So I have another theory on the Mandela effect, and this concept is put forward by a book called Reality Transurfing. This is a book by a Russian, and his name is Vadim Zeland, which is a bestseller in Russian-speaking countries. So what Zeland says is that when people think in the same direction, this creates invisible energy informational structures. These structures are called pendulums or egregores. These are masses of thought condensates. Think of them as energy vortices of ideas, doctrines, thoughts, ideologies, or anything basically that has admirers or supporters or followers or fanatics who are putting their attention on it. There are many different kinds of pendulums. Material things, for example, may start to create pendulums. For example, when a new iPhone comes out, this starts to create a pendulum because everybody's talking about it, everybody wants to buy it, and all that stuff. So once they appear, pendulums draw energy from the followers, right? And the more energy they draw, the more people concentrate on them, the bigger they become and the more powerful they become. Basically, the bigger the followership that feeds the pendulum with energy, the more powerful is the pendulum. So what if these alternate Mandela death scenarios or any type of alternate reality from the examples that are always given as type of the Mandela effect are pendulums? What if they are a thought vortex drawing energy from its followers and creating more and more of this idea? The most valid explanation, though, in my opinion, is that of frequency shifting. This is similar to time travel, but instead of perceiving time as linear, it is simply shifting from one reality to another. By the laws of quantum physics, there's an infinite number of possibilities or realities present at the same time for any given thing, right? Think of it as a TV set. At any moment, you're tuned into a program or a channel if you want. There are many more programs available for you to watch, but you only see the channel that you're tuned to, right? If you change the channel, you shift to a different frequency, so a different program. The idea of multiple realities is not different, really. You're tuned into one reality, but who's to say that you can't tune into an alternate reality if you change your frequency? What's most interesting about this is the possibilities and potentials it opens up. if we can indeed randomly tune into an alternate reality and, in a sense, jump to a different timeline that's kind of similar but a little different than the one we're in, what possibilities open up in terms of learning to navigate the system and indeed choosing the timeline that we actually want to be on? What would that say about our free will, our place as creators of our own reality, and our potential evolution as a species? I'm sending you love. May you be happy,